If you want to go, we can take the time.
No, thank you.
All right. I don't want you to think when I'm doing this that I'm gloating, like it's, ooh, look at what I've got. Fresh water.
No, totally fine.
All right.
This is Total Babble. Total Babble. It's a show about music, pop culture, social media, movies, the internet, relationships, TV, whatever. Total Babble. The Total Babble Podcast.
It's been so long since we recorded a show.
Caw.
I'm Emily, she's Stu. I started to do that wrong, and then I just said, okay, I'm just going to do it wrong, and there it is. And one of us can drink water. I don't mean to gloat. I don't mean to brag or anything like that, but I've got a cool, frothy glass of water right here that I can drink.
If that water's frothy, I'd take another approach. I don't know if I'd be drinking frothy water. That actually sounds like piss.
Good point. Perhaps frothy is not the adjective that I want to use. But Emily's got some kind of weird thing where I try to get her in close to the mic, but she has to be at a certain angle with the microphone. It's part of my issues, I understand. But she got herself wedged in there, and now she doesn't want to get out of her chair, and she has water in another room. And she said, if I have to get out, I'm just staying out. So now I said, okay, we're going to do a show. And don't worry, I won't gloat over the fact that I have water and you don't. Oh, don't worry, it'll be fine.
It'll be fine.
Yeah.
I can survive without water. And you know who I think of? I think of little Emily and little Stu. Because when you were at school, did you have an emotional support water bottle, or did you just drink out of the water fountains like everybody else?
I just drank out of the water fountains.
Right. And then in those hot summer days, we just drink out of the hose outside, right?
Yeah. And then you say little Stu, and I'm trying to picture myself as a little Stu, and I'm wondering how old I would be because I'm wondering if I would still be really into Julie Newmar as Catwoman.
I was thinking younger, like before you thought of girls, like elementary school, like
I was way
11.
into Julie Newmar, like 4 or 5. I discovered Julie Newmar. It's because of Batman. I wasn't alive when Batman was on originally, but then they had reruns, and Julie Newmar is Catwoman. And I mentioned it in one of these shows. It's now in my feed. I'm getting Julie Newmar as Catwoman in Batman. And then it enticed me enough that I got the Batman box set on Blu-ray.
That's sweet.
I've been watching the original show, and I was correct as a 4 or 5-year-old, but I am also discovering that I was way ahead of my time, and she's like 90 years old and still saying good things. She's on our side politically, I found out, and I've been doing a whole Julie Newmar refresh.
This is so funny. All roads lead to Batman and Julie Newmar.
And it's amazing that they were able to go back and make those episodes look as good as they did. It looks like they were recorded today, and they still hold up. It's still campy and stupid, but it's a lot of fun. And I feel like if you want your kids to be healthy, maybe get them into Julie Newmar as Catwoman. You put that Catwoman in front of male or female, it helps them decide their sexual identity perhaps, and then it also leads them down other roads that will make them gleeful the entire rest of their life.
I wonder how many people realized they were gay after watching Julie Newmar.
Could be a thing because hetero dudes will be like, oh my God, Julie Newmar is Catwoman. And then gay dudes would be like, yeah, I'm just not into it, but I love her fashion sense, something like that. And then they can kind of decide, and gay women are, whoa, Julie Newmar, and it's a whole identifier. Julie Newmar sexual identifier.
She's like the Harry Potter sorting hat, but for sexual identity.
See, I'm not a Harry Potter guy. I so want to relate to you, and I know that that's a thing. I know like every listener right now is going, sorting hat? Yeah, but I don't know what that is.
Oh, you don't know what it is? So for a little bit of context, in the Harry Potter books, which I've never read, by the way.
Oh, me either.
No, didn't read Harry Potter.
All right.
But I did watch the films with my children. And so when the kids get to Hogwarts, they have to decide which house they're going to be sorted in.
Oh.
And so they sit up there, and this hat that speaks, it's just this leathery, decrepit old hat is put on their head, and I guess it rummages around in their brain and their personality and then determines which house they will be sorted into.
I kind of remember that from the little bit of the video game I played. I think if I'm going back in my brain, that makes sense.
That is in the video game.
Yeah.
Harry, is it the Philosopher's Stone or whatever? It's in there. Yep.
All right. So we haven't done a show for a while. We haven't missed any, but you've been on vacation. How did your vacation go?
I have. It was lovely. Thank you. We went to the beach and did 6/10 of fuck all. I slept in every day. It was fun.
I would have gone 5, but, that's up to you. That's your own choice to go 6, but 5/10 is plenty of fuck all for me. But
Yeah.
that's great. You didn't get attacked by alligators. There were no rednecks that tried to pull you over on the side of the road and do that thing with the good dueling banjos. There was none of that. Huh?
I mean, there was none of that. There was plenty of rednecks, and it definitely is the MAGA heartland in Florida. So there was a lot of that going on. But we were very low-key and relaxed. We went in with no plans. The kids just played outside and went to the pool every day. We went to the beach a couple of times. We did trivia as a family. That was fun.
Did you do
Really did
Florida
nothing.
trivia? Because that could be good based on the surroundings.
We did not do Florida trivia. It was just some sort of general knowledge thing at a beach club. But we also watched a bunch of movies. So every time we go on vacation, we start some kind of movie marathon. So last year, we watched every single Mission Impossible film
Jeez.
in order.
Wow.
Even the shit one when they're in Australia. I think it's Mission Impossible 2 with Tandy Newton. Fucking shit. Shitbox. Worst film fucking ever.
See, I would say that for many of them, that would be my guess. I tapped out of those a while ago, but
Well, they're good, clean fun, generally speaking. So we watched all those. This time round, we still haven't even gotten a third of the way through the catalog. But guess which movies we started.
well, I immediately thought, and I don't know if this is the way that you went, but I would say do Star Wars, don't do Star Wars, because the original trilogy is great. And are you judging that as the original when it's actually 4, 5, and 6 of the series that are good? Really, if you do that, you would start at episode 1, and the first 3 are crap, and then 4, 5, and 6 are good, and then the rest of it is pretty much crap too. Star Wars, is that my guess? Yes.
It's a good guess, but it's not it. Marvel, but for all of the Avengers characters in order.
They have flow charts and stuff that you have to try to follow in order to watch that in the correct order. I've seen those around online. Oh my God.
Yeah. And so Big Brain Barry, the eldest son, went and did all the research and read the flow charts and wrote them out in order. And then we started watching it. My contribution actually was the first film we watched on the day, which was The Sandlot, that baseball movie for
Great
kids.
movie. Love that
Great movie.
Yeah.
Oop, hello. Just smashed my microphone there. I'm gesticulating wildly.
Of course, for the par.
So pumped. And so we watched that. There was much rejoicing. And then the next day they decided we're going to watch all of those films. And God, there's so many of them.
And are any of them good other than the Spider-Man? And then some of those are not even good.
They're so cheesy.
Yeah.
The writing is just cheese factor 10. I don't like Gwyneth Paltrow as an actress. So we were watching Iron Man. That was the last thing. And Robert Downey Jr. as well. No.
I can do first Iron Man. After that, they lost me in the Iron Mans.
First Iron Man, not too bad. When he's fighting his way out of the cave, all of that kind of stuff. And then, who do I prefer as the Hulk? Because we changed part of the way through.
I didn't realize that was the case. It's kind of like Darren's on Bewitched. That
Yep,
was
exactly.
They just switched him out.
Yep, just switched him out without a care in the world to Mark Ruffalo.
It was Mark Ruffalo and there was another guy. Was there Eric Bana or is that the name of the character? I don't know.
Yes and yes.
Oh.
So Eric Bana, but the character's name is Bruce Banner. So there's
That's what it is.
3 different Hulks throughout the series so far.
And it's all just so self-important and it gets boring. And the last couple that they've put out, they've not done well at the box office. And I think people are burned out on those. Like they did with Star Wars. Disney just beats everything to death.
They really do. But to circle back to what you were saying about Star Wars, It's a good call, and I think that will be my next offering.
Oof.
And here is my suggestion, that we start actually at, like, is it The Empire Strikes Back? We'll start at 4.
4 is Star Wars.
So yeah,
A New
Star
Hope,
Wars,
Empire, Jedi.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So start at the old ones from the 70s and 80s.
I think
Watch
if you do
those.
it, you have to. Otherwise, you might just never watch any of them after like 1 or 2 of them.
Yeah, I mean, you get to Jar Jar Binks or whatever it is, and you just realize all hope is lost.
Episode 4, the original Star Wars, is good. Empire is great. One of the best movies ever made, a little bit darker. Return of the Jedi is decent. It wraps all of those up. And the rest of them are just not watching. And we were all so excited when they came out with the new ones about 10 years ago or whatever it was. And me and my friends all went to see them. And each time we just got more and more disappointed. And I remember being in the office at work and talking to a Star Wars fan and going, all right, so the new one, they fixed it, right? And he just shook his head and he went, no, they're just bad. So this would be a good litmus test for your kids. See if they can handle it.
Yeah. I shall come back and report back at a later time.
And from what I've heard, most kids even like 4, 5, and 6. So that should work for you.
They will enjoy them immensely. I mean, they love Jurassic Park, Back to the Future, that sort of thing.
So much happened in the news since we did our last show. Like I said, we pre-taped a bunch, and I've got a list of stuff here we can kind of go through. First thing, Pam Bondi got fired. How'd you feel about that?
I mean, I wish I had more hands so I could give it more thumbs up.
It was a great moment, and I like taking delight in other people's misfortune, especially her. Evil people, I like taking delight in their misfortune.
The thing I don't understand, I mean, I've started this way, so I'm just going to keep walking into it, but is how they manage to spin everything like it's a really great positive view. She hasn't been fired. It's the same as what they did with Kristi Noem. She's going to take a bigger, better, more exciting job in the private sector or
Maybe
with
I
somebody
just take
else.
it for granted because of what I see in the entertainment industry. When I go through my day and somebody leaves their position, they've never been fired, even like especially radio hosts and that kind of thing. It's like they've never been fired. They've chosen to go on and do other things. And it's just the way I perceive things to always work nowadays. And maybe they're getting their cue there.
You know what we should do?
Fire people.
Well, yeah. But 2,
If we ruled.
I think that for this whole return to work thing, I think what would really get me back in the office is if instead of, those gender reveal parties,
Yeah.
that every time somebody leaves, you have a party, whereas it's fired or resigned, and people have to choose, and they have to wear like either a pink badge or a blue badge, and you got to make a video. It's like, well, I'm the direct manager, and I think that they were fired. And then somebody else is like, I am a colleague in the art department. I think they resigned. And then you do a reveal at the end with some sort of low-level pyrotechnics like you do, and everyone gets drunk and eats cake.
And you could make a big game show out of it even. You could put it on TV
Absolutely.
as a national pastime. We could make that the new national pastime. And people could vote on their devices and say, no, I think Pam Bondi got fired because of this. And then we could actually vote and maybe play it out a little bit further and vote on our phones in real time and have an actual democracy rather than having assholes that are supposed to represent us. We could have real voting and say, no, every 6 months, every year, we're going to vote on who the president is. And if you fuck up, you're out. And, oh, yeah, this person that's in Congress, they're out. See ya. I bet we'd have a much better country and people would be doing a much better job there. And we have the technology to do it. I don't understand why we don't do it. Oh, perhaps it's big corporate corruption. That could be part of it, too. It's all about the money.
It's definitely about the money, and people might have to actually do public service in public service jobs if we had the permanent worm. It's like, for the debates.
Yeah.
The perma worm. How are you going today? Hi, how you doing, Berlo?
If people that represent your corporation are being kicked out of office, they're not going to represent your needs. So you're going to be sure to pay them off to get them elected so that they represent your corporate needs. It's all so corrupt. We should be really doing real democracy here.
Yeah. Oh, Here is a taste of real democracy.
Yeah.
TMZ has opened up a Washington, D.C. office, and they are now chasing down politicians in the same way that in LA they do celebrities, asking them ridiculous questions and taking videos and photos of them, just papping the shit out of politicians. And I really want to applaud it loudly. I think it is a very worthwhile investment. So good. Harass the shit out of them.
See TMZ and I think yuck, kind of sleazy, kind of gross, but I love the fact that they're doing that in Washington, D.C. It's perfect. Only thing is they might need to rename it because TMZ is representative of like some square footage of area in Los Angeles. It means something. The letters stand for something. It's like Mid-Wilshire is part of it. So if it's in Washington, D.C., they're going to need to rename it. I don't know what that would be, but...
I have no idea what it stands for, but let's see. I think it's become a brand now.
I was going to say they're going to need to rebrand at this point. I think we're going to need to launch a study about rebranding and check the marketing on our rebranding. Let's do that.
The only thing that this TMZ DC takeover is missing is for Perez Hilton to come out of retirement and get back on that shit too. Where is that fabulous bitch? I think we need to get him down there. And all up on these people.
Perez Hilton versus George Santos. That is a show that I would watch. They could debate each other. Listen, bitch. And they would just go after each other. That would be great. And George would lose because he's stupid.
Exactly.
Yeah. Iran's eve of destruction. This is when Trump threatened that he was going to destroy all humanity in Iran on that Tuesday, and it didn't happen. And what were your thoughts on that? Were you concerned he was going to do something? Were you just blown out of the water by the fact that he did this? What do you think?
I was absolutely horrified when I heard what he was planning to do. I think part of me thought he was just doing it to manipulate the stock market. But then there was a part of me that was genuinely concerned. I mean, he is so positively unhinged.
Yep.
And he's committing war crimes. And he's going to a place that is absolutely insane. And apparently, word on the street is that he is now gearing up for the United States to invade Cuba. So all of this shit is absolutely diabolical. Just leave them alone. My favorite part of it, though, is the Lego videos that Iran is distributing via social media.
I don't think I've seen those. I've seen the ones of him with the white flag and all that, but I don't know about the Legos.
Oh my goodness, Stuart. Okay, I'm going to have to send you these videos. Best part of this is the way that I discovered them is through my dad. Okay, now remember how we used to talk about how my dad was a massive Trump supporter?
Yeah.
No more. Full 180, hates the guy, is now sending me derogatory videos. We have come full circle.
Good for you, Mr. Dundee. I'm very proud of you.
Mr. Dundee is on the We Hate Trump train, and he is the one sending me these amazing clips, and I will send them to you. It is brutal and very well produced.
When he was saying he was going to completely wreck Iran and just level it, I thought, okay, this has to be the new level. This has to be the thing that makes Congress take action and get him out of there and impeach and remove him. And once again, I was naive because they're all just a bunch of sycophant cunts that are not going to do anything, at least the Republicans. And maybe when he goes to try to do Cuba, maybe that will make the difference. I don't know. But at some point, there's got to be something that makes them act. And I go back to my point that they have to be plotting and planning a way to get him out of office because he is a political detriment at this point, and they have to be working around the various options to remove him. And I wouldn't be surprised by any of them.
You've seen the Truth Social post where he used an AI image to depict himself as Christ?
Also on my list, sure. Go with it.
Okay. That
Well, no, not Christ. He was a doctor. I mean, let's be real about it.
Yeah, I
Fucking
too
asshole.
have real trouble. And I mean, if you watch The Pit, you can see they're all dressed in white with red robes as well.
I saw that meme too.
Yeah, every time you go to the hospital, I have difficulty telling the difference between doctors and depictions of Jesus Christ.
Usually when I leave, I'm like, okay, I feel better now. A little favor before I go. Could I get some water into wine? Can you do that for me? And usually they'll work that out and we can go with that as I exit.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy to me. He knew what he was doing on Easter. He knew what he was doing.
He didn't have enough lack of craziness to not do it, but he absolutely knew.
Yes. And being so bold as to say that he is the reason that the Pope was installed because the church was pulling a political move. The man is an absolute narcissist.
Yeah.
And he's obviously spiraling after Melania went off script and started trying to distance herself from Epstein in the days leading up.
To the first point, I think we've now had so many years of him just bullshitting through everything and just making up crazy shit as he goes, and that none of it makes sense, that I think even some of the hardcore supporters are starting to see that. We've covered that before. I think that's dwindling his acceptance of craziness. So we have that to look forward to. And yes, Bing Bing also on the list. Melania's "I did not know Epstein" speech. My comment on that was Melania just euphemistically walked into a police department and yelled, "I didn't kill anybody," in front of the entire staff. That's kind of what she did there. And when that happened, immediately I was like, okay, what is coming up that she knows about? What is she protecting herself from? Because there has to be something. And there's stuff going around about there's somebody that she knew when all of this was going on that has a lot on her two people, a manager and another model. And go, what do you think about that?
Yeah, exactly. And it coincided with the release of a book that talked about how it's rumored that Epstein introduced her to Trump and that he had slept with her before and they were mixing in these circles with these other people. And I haven't gotten into it because it's just...
Who cares?
I'm so tired.
I mean, it's demonstrative of
all.
everything, but in the long run, I feel like who cares? And you kind of spectate, but you go, okay, bigger fish need to be fried. And yeah, of course. And I don't know of anybody in their right mind that wouldn't see her and see him and go, okay, of course, probably she was introduced to Trump as a high-scale hooker. That's how I've always perceived her.
100%.
Yeah.
I want to go back to remember when Bill Clinton was impeached and the infamous "I did not have sexual relations with that woman." I want to go back to that time and tell everybody, this ain't that bad.
Right.
Could you imagine if that happened in this timeline, like this time in history, no one would care. It's gotten so absolutely bonkers that no one would care.
The entire Republican Party is do as I say, not as I do. And that's demonstrative of this Eric Swalwell here in California, who was a creepy, horrible person, it turns out. And he is immediately withdrawing his bid for governor, and he is immediately going to resign as a congressman. That's the way things should be handled. That's the way they were handled on the left. Meanwhile, we've got a guy that has done way beyond any of that and has allegedly raped women and punched them in the face, and he is the president of our United States and has been impeached multiple times, but it's okay because he bullshits his way through it. There's a huge disparity there, and anytime the Republicans are given a dose of their own medicine, it never applies to them.
And they can, in some way, justify it as if it's okay. How much is gas where you are right now? It's got to be close to $7 for premium,
last time
right?
I bought it was about 4 days ago, and it was $5.89. That was at Costco. I got the Costco gas deal.
I was going to say the Costco gas deal is good. Yeah. Whilst we were driving,
oh yeah,
we had to fill up a lot. I drive a truck, and it was close to $5 a gallon, and it's never been that high here. It's been that high in California, like it's been over $6 a
Because we have
gallon.
extra tax here, too.
But it was just insane.
I thought of you actually said, oh, she's going on a driving vacation, not good timing, but at least it's probably still cheaper than flying and you get the family experience and all that.
Yeah, exactly. But then every motherfucker and their grandma is driving on Saturdays around spring break. And so a 4.5-hour trip turns into an 8-hour trip. And I'm not a fan.
There's actual traffic down there.
There's traffic.
Wow.
At the beginning and at the end. There's traffic when you get there, and there is, for an hour leading in, and there's traffic 2 or 3 hours out. Oh my God, I went to Buc-ee's for the first time. Have you heard of Buc-ee's?
I've heard of Buc-ee's. Buc-ee's has a reputation, even if just for the cool T-shirts.
Right. So I went for the first time with our kids. My husband drives past Buc-ee's a lot, and so he's gotten shirts for the boys before, and they've outgrown them because it's been a year or so. We went to Buc-ee's, and I found the experience just quite overwhelming. And actual Buc-ee Beaver was there. Actual Buc-ee had
Did you hug
made
him
an
and take
appearance.
pictures with him?
No. I
No.
tried to convince my kids to do it, and they were like, no, cringe. But you know who it wasn't too cringe for? Every single car full of teenage girls. There was like between 6 and 12 girls deep and their moms carrying Stanley Cups, screaming and cheering for Buc-ee Beaver.
Hey,
and
look, Buc-ee's getting a boner.
And I was like, you know what? This is what's wrong with our country.
And I would picture that every single piece of food that you could ever buy there is really terrible and overprocessed and makes McDonald's seem wholesome. Accurate?
Well, I didn't have a lot of the food. I will tell you this. They have these things. They're called Buc-ee's Bites or something. I don't know what they are. They're like, Pirate's Booty, the corn puffs.
Yeah.
Yeah, imagine that. But now it's not cheese flavored. It's covered in caramel corn. That. And so it's like a corn puff with caramel on the outside and salt. Now, I would have never purchased this, but Robert, the drug runner, purchased these, and I was driving. And when I tell you, I was eating those like a fistful at a time. Those things were like crack.
So really good tasting had you eating a lot. How did you feel afterwards?
I mean, fine in the grand scheme of things. I felt like I ate a lot of them, but there wasn't that many of them, but they were delicious. And then the kids got the brisket sandwich and said that it was delicious. I wouldn't touch that thing with a 10-foot pole.
To me, brisket sandwich sounds gross. Ugh.
Yeah,
Brisket.
I mean, it was just gross. But for me, the store's fine. It's the people that I was really overwhelmed by.
My perception of Florida and that area and Buc-ee's is that nearly everybody that's in the store and works at the store seems like they should be working at a DMV. And that's a little bit of a judgment on both sides, but that's my thoughts on it.
I don't know. It was everyone who worked there seemed really nice and professional and, good at their jobs, more so than like your average gas station.
And I would put that a step above Walmart, just to be clear.
Oh, yeah. However, Buc-ee's is 100% the Walmart of gas stations.
That's tough.
Because they were selling stadium seats and pop-up chairs and coolers and beach balls, and it was
insane.
Just
for like they had their branding on it? Is that what it was? Or
some of them, no. It's just holiday
for
supplies.
where you're going, you might need these kind of thing.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
But, like a double camping chair, like a love seat camping chair. That's what the first thing I saw when I went in was. I was like, okay, that's it. Firewood, 40 pounds of corn. That won't surprise me. That seemed
You're going to a
off-brand.
massive barbecue. You're going to need all this.
Yeah, maybe you're traveling with horses and you want to G them up. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was weird. But there was so many people in there who were there for the spectacle. And at one point, I just sort of sat up next to some sort of display and just tried to hide because it was horrific. I was trying to follow around behind my husband and children, and because I'm not the tallest woman on the planet, I kept getting run into by people. Like, you can't necessarily see my head over the aisles. And so I would get cut off from my family. So they'd be going, and then people would just come in and just cut me off from my family. And I started to get like really stressed out. I checked my heart rate afterwards, and for the whole time we were in there, it's like stressed. It's like, okay, cool. I'm never going back.
I think what would work for you is one of those big orange flags they put on a mini bike. Yeah, just get one of those that sticks like on your shoulder, and then you could just walk around and everybody could see you, know not to run into you, and find you.
That's pretty good. I could put it in a backpack. Or if I want people to actually deliberately give me a wide berth, which I'm into, I should wear a helmet with a flag on the top. People will be like, there is something wrong with this woman.
And while you're doing it, a great big fat suit. Put on a big sumo wrestler kind of suit. And then that way, in case somebody screws up and you run into them, you've got some cushion there and you're okay and you're kept moderately away from them. And then when the next pandemic happens, you've got 6 feet of girth there and you're saving yourself.
It's a good idea.
This is forethought.
Let's see. They're noisy though, those suits.
Are they? They like plastic sounds, kind of?
No, they have a fan inside them to keep them inflated.
I had no idea. I thought they just filled them up and let them go.
No.
Oh.
They're like the bouncy house equivalent of clothing. You know how the bouncy house has an engine attached to it?
Anytime I've seen those big sumo competitions, there's somebody that is constantly filling them up.
Yeah, there's a little engine in the back.
I had no idea. See,
check
that's
it out.
terrible.
Like like those dinosaur rider costumes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's a little engine, a little fan inside them.
T-Rexes don't have a sound. That's terrible.
No.
Takes you out of the experience.
It does take you out of the experience. Bright green T-Rex with a man on its back. Doesn't seem genuine or real. I can't suspend my disbelief with that whirring noise.
It doesn't keep me in the moment. I don't believe that's a real T-Rex riding a guy.
Now the T-Rex is riding the guy. This is way better than...
I said that, and then I thought, okay, that's the next costume that I'm going to make. Being that I screwed it up, it's a T-Rex riding a guy. Next Halloween. You're welcome.
Oh, I'm hoping we see more aliens riding a guy next Halloween.
Well, literally, I would like to see that. And, all the Republicans, well, never mind. I was going to go on a whole different thing there.
Speaking of aliens or space, the Artemis 2, that
You're
is
going
good
through
news.
my list without me having to go through my list. This is perfect.
I haven't read your
You know
list.
what's been in the news.
I know it's been in the news.
Yeah. What about the Artemis thing? How did you feel about that?
I really looked at that as a beacon of hope for our government and just for all of us. Here you have people who are qualified for their jobs, who did a great job of it, carried it out successfully, and seemed to be really good people as well. And so that to me was just this shining bright light amongst an otherwise filthy cesspool. And so it made me really happy to see them do it, execute it successfully, and splash down with such expertise. They were within 60 seconds of their
they
planned
said it was
ETA.
the perfect mission is what I kept hearing.
Perfect mission.
And
Good
I
for
cheered
them.
it on. I was for it. I just wasn't hardcore focused on it. Like some people were so into it and watching every second. I was like, okay, that's cool. I like that they're doing that. And yay them. And then they did the interview where Trump was trying to talk to them and they completely ignored him and then just let the microphone sit there. I enjoyed that, making a point without making a point. And I was like, yay, but I wasn't like, oh my God, yeah. And I had friends that were so just into every little second of it. Don't want to gloat, but I'm going to drink some cool water.
Some cool water.
Oh, it's so refreshing.
So
water.
refreshing. I'm excited for the rebirth of the space program and I think the reinvigoration of a space race, but I could do without it and I could do without the wars. The thing that is stressing me out at the moment, and it feels like just such a gross negligence, is that we are spending trillions of dollars on war, and we were fighting about and shutting things down because of SNAP benefits. It just feels so incongruous with what our country needs.
But Emily, people don't need to eat. You're saying people need to eat and people need to be able to not be sick? Healthcare? You're saying we need those things. That's so odd, especially from a president that said he was never going to be a war-mongering president and wasn't going to participate in any wars, and criticized Obama over and over again for doing military actions. He said he was never going to do that. So, Republicans do as I say, not as I do.
Well, yeah, that was before he discovered that he could funnel lots of money to his family through military exercises and all of his cronies, that he could all make a lot of money.
When this is over, the best outcome for me would be all of them in jail being continually violated. I like that idea. And also, we get all their stuff and we sell it off as much as we can, and we give that money back to the American people, be it in tax credits or healthcare programs, things like that. We get all of the money that they have stolen from us and we give it back to the people. That is going to be the great outcome and ending of this, I really hope.
I don't understand the concept and why we give presidential pardons.
Yeah, well, all of this that's happening, nobody ever thought anybody would be this fucked up and evil. That's why it's all happening. We haven't prepared for it.
No. But if a presidential pardon is given to essentially everyone, I wonder if we can overcome that.
You mean change that policy, or?
Well, go after people who've been pardoned. Because I don't know how we could.
Right, I don't think we can. And as much as I wouldn't want to call anybody to action, boy, it would sure be terrible if people started enacting vigilante justice out there.
Right. Although, I will observe that everyone's favorite CEO killer, that hot guy,
Luigi
Mangione.
Yeah.
They're seeking the death penalty for him. However, we've got other people who have shot up school children and they're not seeking the death penalty for them. So it's ridiculous. The DOJ has instructed them to go for the death penalty of a rich CEO. But if poor people's kids are being killed, no death penalty.
That killer threatened the big corporate entity, and that is why they are going after him. And just to be clear, I don't think that murdering somebody is the answer. I'm still very much against that whole Luigi Mangione thing. I don't think that it was just, and I do think it's wrong to murder people, and I'm not going to budge on that. But I could also expound that out to there are much worse people in our government that have done worse things. And I could maybe look the other way if things happened, just in my own conscience. I would never advocate for that.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. However, I have started watching a man who calls health insurance companies is a social worker to try and move along their decisions, or to tell them when their denial of service results in killing people. And there have been so many instances where, because insurance companies are now practicing medicine, they are denying critical care for people and it's resulting in their death. Healthy 22-year-old man applies to get one of those asthma puffers because he has asthma, denied because he hasn't tried enough alternative medications, hasn't sort of suffered enough, had an asthma attack and died because the inhaler was $400 without insurance, couldn't afford it, chose to pay his rent, died.
But we learned during COVID, Emily, that everybody dies.
Right.
So
bonkers.
You're just a number that is a plus number or a minus number, and that's how they look at it. And we could get back to humanity. At some point we will. People are fucking pissed.
Yeah, I just don't know what we're supposed to do when your doctor prescribes you something and then the insurance company decides that you don't need it.
Yeah.
And if you can't afford it, because also medications in the United States are so high because they're generally covered by insurance, we pay way more for the same shit than what people do in any other country.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
crazy.
you can try and go across the border and deal with it that way. There's a lot of people that do that. Or you can just get the medication and then lose your house, and everybody can take everything that you own because you have such massive healthcare bills. And then you can end up homeless, dying in the street, sick. And we could always keep going that route too. Or
It's
we
crazy.
could make changes.
Oh, I got a call from a debt collector yesterday.
Fuck.
Yeah, in July 2022, I went for a routine mammogram. And while I was there, they discovered a lump, a suspicious lump. And the radiologist was there and came into the room and he said, look, we're going to take a biopsy of this because this is suspicious, but just to rule it out. And they did a thing called an ultrasound-guided punch biopsy where they essentially...
Oh my God, they punch you?
Yeah.
That's not fair.
They have a needle that bores into you and they click it. And while they click it, it takes out chunks of flesh from inside your breast, okay? It is uncomfortable,
Yeah.
to say the least, even though they numb you up. Okay, my insurance company, I wasn't given a choice as to whether or not I wanted to have it done. It all happened in one swoop, before I could even think, oh my God, I might have cancer. They're checking me for cancer. They'd already done it, okay? I never got sent a bill. They said that they they made a claim to my insurance company. It was declined, but then I never heard any of this. And
Yeah.
this was 4 years ago.
That's just
now.
what they do.
Yeah, I've never received a thing. And then I get from a debt collector saying, you owe us this amount of money. So what did I do? I called the fucking hospital.
Yeah.
And I was like, hold on a second. You never sent me a bill for this. And they're like, well, you owe us this money and yada, 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 and we can't help you. You now have to go through the debt collector. And I was like, no, I will pay this money. But it was a lot. So, but I was just still so upset by it. One, that my insurance company decided that it wasn't medically necessary for me to get a biopsy on a suspicious breast lump.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, guys. And then two, that nobody told me that I owe the money. They have my email address. They have my postal address. In 4 years, I've never received a bill.
It's what
for
they
this.
do. They run up the bill of services and then they don't tell you about it and then they come after you. And then if they don't get it coming after you, they send it over to bill collectors. I have this thing about this dickhead on a school board I want to get to, but I would tell you, check when they put it into collections because I've been through that before. And if they don't put it into collections within a year of the date that it happened, you can say that there's no reason that you have to pay it. There's some kind of legal out that they have to give it to collections within a year, as I understand it, because I got out of one that way.
Oh, well, I wish I knew this yesterday because it's been 4 years and they just put it into collections last week, which is when I started receiving the calls.
Check with your insurance company because I had one like that and she told me if they miss this date and don't put it into collections within a year, I don't know if it's legal policy, but it was their policy that you're not responsible for it whatsoever. It's like, okay. And they screwed it up and it
my gosh.
didn't happen and I didn't have to pay it. And I'm going through another thing. I had eyes done last year and it was in network and they're showing it as out of network. And any way they can just fuck things up so that you have to pay it anyway. It's how they screw you. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Years ago, my son had a seizure really early in the morning on Christmas morning. It was really scary, like he was completely unconscious. We had to call an ambulance. The people in the ambulance typed in his date of birth wrong by 1 digit in the year. And so the insurance company declined to cover the cost of the ambulance. My credit score got impacted because I tried to call them and no matter how many people I would call, they couldn't figure out how to update it.
You can threaten lawsuits for that too.
It was
The fact that it impacted your credit.
It was insane. And that was thousands and thousands of dollars. Eventually that went away, but who's got time for that? It's
We
fucking
should
insane.
be focused on getting healthy and shouldn't have to worry about that part of it and have that be the focus. But I want to talk about this dickhead,
Crazy.
this Tennessee
Okay.
School
Oh,
Board.
grub.
Have you seen this guy? Do you
Oh,
know
yeah.
about that? Okay. For those
yeah.
that didn't know, here is the first part of an NBC story, and then I have his reaction to that story, and we can talk about it.
Tonight, backlash in Northeast Tennessee following the actions of a Washington County School Board member. Keith Irvin is caught on live stream leaning into a student, wrapping his arms around her, making this comment.
God, you're hot. You know that? Hey, where you go to school at?
Superintendent Jerry Boyd appears to smile. The meeting continues with no one addressing the remarks.
Okay, so first off, I thought Keith Irvin was a singer. Thought it was a country singer. No, it's this creepy board that
It's
is on the
Keith
school
Urban.
board. Oh, okay. Well, that guy should be more clear. He should be out there saying, that's not me. But that guy leans over to this student and goes, God damn, you're hot. And then he puts his arm
Gross.
around her. You can see it in the video.
Gross.
And people are outraged. Imagine that. And he thought that was appropriate. And then he gave this statement after the fact. We're going to come back to the other video, but this was his apology type statement.
Yeah.
I would like to start by saying that I am not always good with words.
So hard to imagine that. He already sounds like a dumb shit redneck motherfucker. And how's this guy on the school board? I'll ask that. Just going off of this stereotype.
It's actually hard to get on the school board.
Apparently not in Tennessee. Here we go.
I sometimes say things in the way that doesn't convey with what I mean.
Or within its
I
sensitivity
only hope
or smarts.
that the people who know me know that I wouldn't say anything on purpose to
He did,
offend anyone.
Even if he was saying smart things, it's such a slow, drawn out way. I think he's a dumb shit no matter what. He's a dumb shit anyway, but
But here's the thing.
yeah.
He's just saying, I didn't mean to offend anyone.
Yeah.
But I think he's missed the point. What people are outraged by is the fact that you're a creepy cunt.
And you put your arm around her. Yeah.
It's one, you do not, under any circumstances, and any teacher will tell you this, you do not just put your arm around a teenage girl.
Yeah.
One. Two, there is a distinct difference, I think, if you are going to disgrace yourself by making comments about the physical appearance of a child, a female child. You could say something like, wow, you're beautiful. I think that's different. To
Even that's
this-
creepy in my opinion, but okay.
It is creepy, I agree. But it has a very different connotation to, damn, you're hot.
Yeah.
She's not a fucking stripper. And then to follow it up with, how can I find you? I mean, where do you go to school?
Yeah.
There's no way you can confuse what was happening to that man at that time.
But he has a
It
very
was-
valid excuse. I don't know how much of this you know. Did you hear how this happened and what he really meant? Did you hear this apology that he's giving?
No.
Okay, well, if you think ahead in your brain, what would you think his excuse was? If you had to get yourself out of this, what would you think your...
Oh, I'd never be in this situation.
Okay.
I'd kill
If you
everyone
had to
afterwards.
rationalize it, what would you say?
Joking. How about this? If I was that guy,
Yeah.
I would blame a medical episode
Oh.
or being old or something like that.
No.
Or I've started a new medication. I
It's
don't know.
much more dumb than that.
Oh, it is?
Apparently, I'm stupid because I thought, okay, if I had to come up with something like this, I would come up with this, and it's so terrible, and it is exactly what he used. We'll play more of the video here.
Obviously, I've seen the clip. I looked. I get it. I have. If that's all you're seeing, I understand why people are reacting the way they are.
Oh,
He's on a
done
school board.
He's doing the "you've caught Cletus out of context" defense.
Yeah, exactly. And he's
Cocksucker.
on a school board, and he can't even read his own statement, but we'll continue.
He didn't write it, that's why.
But that's not the full conversation, not even close. Last week at the board meeting, I wanted to congratulate a student who did a great job sharing thoughts with all that was in the room. The student made it all of us proud during that meeting. She was asking good questions. She was engaged. She handled herself well, especially right before the clip in the conversation with the superintendent on hot topics.
It was hot topics.
She continually fired off questions.
She was so good. She was handling things so good, and she was hot in her topics, is what he was talking about.
The only thing I was hoping, because I know this is dumb, I was hoping that it was going to be revealed that she'd done some type of physical performance, like she was baton twirling or shadow boxing or something amazing. And then she was hot in terms of Fahrenheit, dripping porous sweat. Perhaps she just performed some kind of wrestling display.
He didn't have that luxury, unfortunately, so he had to go with the hot talk. She was doing the hot talk. It's like she was giving a big presentation in her couple sentences that she said, and that also gave the need for him to wrap his arms around her at the time and say, God, you're hot.
And then ask her where she went to school and whether or not she'd blow him for $15. It's just, I would love to hear from the girl.
Yeah, well, she's protected as a minor, which makes sense, but there's still more we can
Not from
look
him,
at.
she's not, apparently.
Yeah, protected for now.
Thought out valid points. When I mentioned she was hot, I meant she was on a roll.
Of course.
It was nothing to do with her appearance. As a lifetime supporter of David Crockett High School, I was especially proud to learn that's where she went to school. When you take a couple of seconds out of a 2-hour meeting, it can change how everything sounds.
Or it can't.
And honestly, it doesn't give her the credit that she deserves for what she brought to the discussion.
So if you
This
don't
ain't
let
about
this
her,
go,
bitch.
if you don't let this go, you're defaming the girl. That's what it is. Fucking asshole. Just amazing. So then towards the end, it got a little bit heated, and then I want to go back to the other news story.
Would you say it was hot?
If people want the full picture, the whole meeting is online. And our school board.
I watched it.
I think we all.
You're a liar.
Please be disrespectful. Please don't be disrespectful.
Please be disrespectful.
You are being disrespectful.
And
Please
out.
stop.
Boom.
I love that more than anything. You could tell that that was so Freudian. Please be disrespectful. I mean, don't be, you're being disrespectful. We're all thinking this asshole shouldn't have a job. Please be disrespectful.
Duck season.
Wabbit season.
I think we all.
You're a liar.
Please be disrespectful. Please don't be disrespectful.
I was being disrespectful.
You are being disrespectful.
And he's
Please
proud.
stop.
There are times that you should be proud for being disrespectful, and this is one of them.
I watched it.
I think we all.
You're a liar.
Please be disrespectful. Please don't be disrespectful.
I was being disrespectful.
You are being disrespectful. Please stop.
So that kind of went that way. And then if I come back to the other part of the clip here that I wanted to find is this report wraps it up. We have this.
This isn't Irvin's first controversy as a board member. According to meeting notes obtained by NBC affiliate WCYB, in 2009, Irvin was accused of making a lewd juvenile gesture of a sexual nature in a classroom, reacting to a student's remarks. Those same records show he apologized and was censured by the board.
I'd like to make a motion to censure Keith
Tonight, the board voting to censure him again. Meanwhile, thousands have signed an online petition demanding Irvin and the superintendent step down. Neither responded to NBC News' request for comment. Because they are elected officials, they cannot be fired by the board. Election officials say voters can have their say this August.
And then I meant to come to this too. I have to skip around a lot based on the way this is. This is people getting up after he gave his apology.
I really expected accountability from you.
At an emergency board meeting tonight, outrage.
This is your community that you're supposed to be serving. Look at the distraction. You put us on the map nationally, embarrassed us.
Nobody said nothing. Y'all just sat here.
Cowards.
What kind of leadership are you providing?
Irvin saying his words were taken out of context.
And that's the other thing, too. As you watch this, there's other people sitting there on the school board that just did nothing. And that was my thought, too. Like, how are you not addressing this?
Well, the other thing, too, is, so, for example, if my child was presenting at something like that, I would be in the room. Where was this kid's parents?
Good question.
And I'm not, by the way, I'm not saying this to in any way, shape or form say that somebody else should have been policing this guy's behavior. It was 100% incumbent upon him to not be creepy as fuck. But I want to know, did they say anything? Maybe it was the parents who released the video.
Could be. Maybe they, as this happened, were just so stunned, like the entire room, they just, okay, we'll deal with it after. But one of the school board members should have spoken up at that point, I feel.
And I think it would also be 100% different if, let's say, for example, I'll use myself as an example because I think that that can be useful, especially because of all of the people on the planet, God knows, I don't know what I'm going to say before it comes out of my mouth. And we've talked about this on the show before. I have said some crazy shit.
I mean, know what mine are as they're coming out of my mouth. So,
right?
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. So sometimes I say things that really offend people. Sometimes I don't do it on purpose. And so when that happens, I will very quickly go, whoa, that is not what I meant. What I meant was, but I would pick myself up if I knew that I had said something that could be misconstrued. Like you, for example, at the beginning of the show. You were like, I'm full of gunk. And I was very proud of myself. I didn't say anything filthy. Okay? Nothing. But I tell you what.
Yeah.
It would be completely different if I had have said that about myself.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah. I get your point.
Rules.
Yeah.
But I think that if he really didn't mean it in that way, he should have, in the moment, made amends.
And I would say, okay, how do you not mean it in that way based on the context? Context is one of those words that even the dumb have learned nowadays. There's no way to not take it that way, especially with your arm around her. And at that point, at the very least, you have to say, geez, I just screwed that up. I'm very sorry. I didn't mean to make you uncomfortable. And even at that point, it's still not okay, but it's better.
Yeah. Also, I'm not advocating for the devil here, but I'm sort of devil adjacent on this. I think that the whole not touching kids has gone too far.
I can agree with that, depending.
Yeah, right. I think, for example, if my kid has a teacher, especially little kids or, anyone, right? If a child initiates physical contact with the teacher, say for like a hug or something like that, it is super weird for the teacher to like put their hands up in the air where they can be visible or something like that. That's dumb. Just give my kid a hug back, would you? Yeah. It's not like you're having a very secret struggle snuggle in a fucking supply closet. I think that's totally different.
Yeah.
But I think we've gone too far that we can only do fist pumps and you can't put your arm around a kid when they've done something great. It's gotten weird. It's taken the humanity out, and I think it's impacted on the connection, because I think that that's a very human dynamic.
Yeah.
I hug my kids' teachers. Why can't they hug my kid? I don't know.
Well, you're both adults, and we live in a society now that there are more creeps and terrible people than ever. But then on the other side, there's more people than ever that will make an issue out of nothing for purposes of a lawsuit to make a little money. Funny that you say the thing about the hugging, because I saw something last night, some video or something. It was a little kid, I think, hugging a Disney character. And I just thought, wow, if I had that job as a Disney character, what are the rules like? What am I allowed to do? What do I have to do to step back to not get hugged by the kid, to avoid terrible things being construed or happening? And you're right, it shouldn't be that way. And that's where we're at in this terrible shit-faced society.
Yeah, it's just everything leading up to where we are now is annoying. And so to bring it full circle to Captain Creepazoid, I'm not so much offended by his weird boomer arm around the waist.
It was
attaboy.
around her shoulder, to be clear. They were sitting there, and he, goddamn, you're hot.
I thought she was standing.
No, they were sitting
she's
at a
blurred
table.
out. Okay, great.
Yeah.
So that's a great clarifying point. Around her shoulder or whatever. That has clumsy old man attaboy vibes, which I'm not super offended by.
If that were my daughter, I'd be losing my mind. If I were at his apology meeting, I would have been yelling shit out constantly.
God.
And they would have had to take me out.
Yeah. But I think all wrapped up together in a little bow, and now the fake apology has added fuel to the fire.
Yep.
And it could have been way more simple, and he just didn't. He could have just said, I'm sorry I said what I said. That was not the intention, but I realize what has happened there. I will do better.
The fact that there was prior stuff on him, I feel like had he done that, he would be out of a job. And I feel like for sure now he's completely out of a job.
100%.
I don't think people are going to let this go.
No, and I really want to know what the lewd gesture was. A sexual gesture. What do you think it was?
You can do this. There's the hand motion. That's what came to mind for me.
I think it's maybe the wanky hand motion is what I thought.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, what else would it be?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's why I asked you, because I couldn't. My hands and mind went to that. But then,
I mean, you can do other things with fingers, but it doesn't really convey what you're doing necessarily.
No, exactly. But I do wonder who would do that at a school in front of school kids. Like, that points to a pattern of poor decision making.
And it points to a person that should have to register as a sexual offender, and probably will down the road if they act on their impulses.
I would not be surprised.
That's the kind of guy that
and found
when you're 15 years old, you stay away from their house because it's around the neighborhood and you know.
Yeah, I think he is Captain Creepazoid. Hopefully the police raid his house and they find all of that and somebody deals with him. But I just think, oh my gosh, I bet he's married. I bet he has kids. Everyone is so embarrassed because, like that guy said, like the parent said, you've put us on the map. He has embarrassed their entire community and their school and that girl. She must have been so embarrassed at the moment when it was happening.
Yep.
You could hear her nervous sort of giggle because she's frightened.
And stuff like that, when I hear the words Tennessee, is the first thing that I think of when I hear the words Tennessee. And that's probably not fair. There's big metropolitan areas and people that don't fuck their sisters, but that is the first stereotype that I go to in my mind, and he's just furthered that even more.
Yeah. It's a shame.
Yeah.
And the corruption on the school boards is huge.
Yeah. Well,
Shut the hell away from me.
there's a show. We're over, and about now I'm getting tired of the edit, so we should end it. And it's great seeing you again. A wonderful show as
Likewise.
always.
Likewise, have a wonderful rest of your week
Yeah.
and stay mad. That's my
Stay mad,
advice.
I like. All right. Let's
Stay
go do
mad.
that. Go get some water now. Water's good.
Water is good. I actually need to cook my children dinner. Let the record show it's 2:00 in the afternoon.
I was going to say,
But I've
Jesus.
come up with a new thing. And I know the show's over, but I do have a hot tip for the parents who listen.
Cooking tips with Emily.
I have changed dinner time to between 4 p.m. and 5:30, right around the time that I pick up the kids from school. Because I've got free time now before I go to pick them up from school. They are starving after school, and so they'll eat pretty much anything I put in front of them at that time before they've had a chance to snack. So they'll eat the protein, they'll eat the vegetables. Then they will be full of nutritious meals before I take them to their after-school activities, which start anytime between 5 and 7 p.m. Then we get home, their bedtime is at 8, and rather than sitting down for a heavy meal, they can have a little snack and then go about their business. And it's been an absolute life changer.
Healthy food, then snacks is your tactic.
Exactly. And it feels weird because it's pensioner dinner and the sun's still up and everything.
Yeah.
But it works better for whatever's going on.
And
in
that
our
will
week.
serve you well when you get to be 80 years old and eat at a Denny's at 4:00 in the afternoon like the rest of the old people. So it'll totally play into
100.
that.
Absolutely. Although I've never been to a Denny's.
Oh, you don't need to. It used to be good. Used to be, you never go to Denny's, you end up at Denny's is the way it always was. After a night of rocking, you'd go to Denny's at 2:00 in the morning. And
Not
that's
the Waffle
way.
House?
No, we don't have those here. We have Denny's.
Oh.
Yeah.
We have Waffle House, and I've only ever been to a Waffle House one time. Never again.
I feel like you'd see a lot of people like this school board member there. But again, that's my own bias.
Around here?
Yeah.
Ha ha. You have no idea. Yeah, it is loose around where I live. It is crazy.
All right.
It is
Well,
absolutely bonkers.
I swear to God, we're going to stop talking now. Everybody have a great week.
Yeah, I'm totally done.
Me
Stay
too.
mad.
I'm not going to talk more. Why would we talk more? Keep talking more. Jesus Christ. What the hell's wrong with us?
Shut the hell away from me.
Thank you.
Okay, you know how this goes. Like us, subscribe, tell your friends, write a nice review, engage with us. We're Total Babble on Instagram, on Facebook, on Threads, and on Blue Sky. Email is show@totalbabble.com. The Total Babble Podcast.